Levy.
Wilson, a little bit of space for Harry Wilson, strikes a goal, oh, what a goal, Morrison, goal!
Good afternoon and a very happy Easter to you all. Remarkably, just 8 games remaining of this 2021 Championship regular season. We hope, obviously, here at Cardiff we can extend that to at least a couple further. And we're back from the international break and back underway with a game against Nottingham Forest at home for this real final furlong now of the Championship push. Nottingham Forest are the visitors this afternoon for what we hope will be a very good Friday in front of the Cardiff City Stadium. I was going to say faithful, but of course we're still operating with an empty stadium here, still bizarre circumstances. I've still, though, got John Donovan alongside me, back from the international break, recharged, well rested. Obviously went into that international break in fine spirits off the back of the Swansea win. And remarkably, we find ourselves in a very similar position to where we did post-lockdown last year. So if you look at the 8 games remaining to last season, after that Preston win, we're actually 4 points better off, but ironically 4 points further back from the playoff places.
Absolutely. I'm also pleased to say, Ash, I'm still bizarre as well. So just to link to your intro. No, it's been a nice couple of weeks, hasn't it? That was such an important game, the Swansea game, not just for local, national pride, but for the fact that you felt that after defeat to Watford and the draw against Stoke, if Cardiff had come out of that, and it's easy to say with hindsight, but if Cardiff had come out of that with anything other than 3 points, it would have been hard. It would have been a bigger gap, and we really would have been playing catch up. We still are, but we have some momentum. And yes, you're absolutely right. It feels like, well, very similar to when we came back and maybe played Leeds United at this stadium after the first lockdown. When was that? 6 or 7 years ago, and got a good win and started that momentum. So today is pivotal. Today's also pivotal, I think, because it's interesting that Reading kick off at 5:30. So if Cardiff can win today, get those 3 points on the board, go 1 point behind Reading prior to kick-off at 5:30, just ramps up the pressure on them. So a lot on the line this afternoon.
It is indeed. And in terms of team selection then, just the one change from the team that won that derby game prior to the international break, and it's captain Sean Morrison, in fact, who misses out with that calf problem that he played on through that derby win. Curtis Nelson, though, returns to the side and will play on his natural right-hand side, and Aidan Flint inherits the captain's armband in doing so. Joe Rolls and Tom Sang remain in the wing-back roles, despite Perry and G being fit again for the bench this afternoon. And there's also starts for Kieran Brown, Leo Bacuna, Kiefer Moore and Harry Wilson, who have all returned unscathed from their national team exploits. John, Moz missing out an obvious blow, but Nelson now being able to play on his natural side, the right-hand side of that back three, it does help mitigate that somewhat, and there's consistency in the back five elsewhere after all that chopping and changing in that melee of games leading up to the break.
You're absolutely right. Curtis Nelson, I think, has been almost a player reborn under Mick McCarthy after a mixed bag in the first half of the season, but he's been excellent. That injury came at a poor time for him, but Kieran Brown has come in and done very, very well. Curtis Nelson playing on his natural side, so playing himself back into fitness after not being in the starting lineup for a number of weeks, and of course then the international break. It gives him a greater degree of comfort. What a pat on the back for Tom Sang. Perry Ng is fit, but to say to that young man, and I completely agree with it, and Perry Ng has been a hero since coming to Cardiff City, but the way Tom Sang stood up to the derby and the way he played before that, and calmness personified, absolutely get the pat on the back, you play again. So I think that's a really good man management selection from Mick McCarthy. And sorry, Ash, go on.
And similarly, Joe Rolls on the other side.
Yes.
I think if you look back at that derby, and I think you've hit the nail on the head there, calmness personified from Rolls and Sang in those positions, because the three inside them were flinging themselves in front of everything, but the two wing back was so composed on the afternoon.
Well, I think you've got to find a place for Joe Rolls simply because of his experience. He is a good footballer, but at the moment you'd have to say Pack and Vokes give you the better balance in there, I think, just on form and what's been happening. So Joe Rolls, he's combative, he's an athlete, so I've got no fear. Going into the Swansea game, I didn't feel he was playing out of position as such. I felt he could do that role, and he did it very well. And also because of his leadership, his experience, I think you want to find a place for him in the side. So I'm comfortable with him playing at left wing back. And the other man you mentioned, Aidan Flint, captain today, Derby goal scorer at the start of the season. Did any of us have money on this happening? And I'm very, very pleased for him. And I'm one of those who eats my words, Ash, because I thought maybe his time at Cardiff City was done. I'm pleased it's not, and he's bringing a real important presence to the team at the moment.
And coming through the international break, we've got some players who thankfully didn't play as many minutes as they might have expected to, and Kiefer Moore's a case in point of that. And have you ever been more relieved to not see a Cardiff player in the starting lineup of the national team?
Well, you and I were on Kiefer Moore watch and sending messages to each other, and no, absolutely. When he was named on the bench and didn't play all those minutes, I was mightily relieved. He's a man who I think you take that chance against Swansea when he goes round the keeper. I think a Kiefer Moore, you know, who wasn't running on empty, running on fumes, would have finished that chance. I think a little bit of mental fatigue, and yes, of course, he did play for Wales, and I actually thought he was pivotal when he came on against the Czech Republic the other night. I thought Wales were blunt until then, but he didn't play as many minutes. He also importantly got a goal. He got a goal against Mexico, and he got a few games without scoring, so hopefully that'll be a confidence boost for him. But yeah, maybe he went away on international duty and actually got a little bit of an energy lift. And Harry Wilson also played well, so he's going to be a man coming back with confidence. So perhaps this time the international break served us well.
Very quickly then, last question specifically about Cardiff. Is that what's been missing in the last couple of games? Is that clinical nature that was there during the winning run and seems to have dissipated a little bit? We started missing chances, despite the fact we've been very solid at the back still.
I think so. I think you looked at that Stoke game, a game which we thought was must win, and we did have chances in the second half. And again, you have to go to Kiefer Moore. And please, anyone watching at home, this is not a criticism of him. He's going to win Player of the Year. He's been pivotal, absolutely crucial to everything Cardiff have done. But he was tired and he missed a couple of crucial chances, and Cardiff as a whole didn't look as clinical. I really think that Swansea game will give a huge amount of momentum. There is a feel-good factor again to add to the fact of what Mick McCarthy brought in initially. And yeah, I'm looking for a Cardiff City team playing with intensity today to really go at this Nottingham Forest side early.
Come back to you in a couple of minutes, John, to talk about the Forest team and what you're seeing ahead of this game. First, let's hear from the gaffer himself, then Mick McCarthy, talking here about how vitally important it's going to be to follow up that big win against Swansea.
Yeah, look, having done it, it'll count for note if we don't back it up now. So we need to back it up with a really good performance against Nottingham Forest. You can't guarantee the win, ever. All you can try and guarantee is a good performance. That's what I say to the lads. If you perform well, more often than not, you'll win games. And, you know, we have been playing well. We've been hard to beat. So long may that continue. The difficulty is, I guess, is from the intensity that we've had. And then people go away and it gets a bit splintered and fractured, and people, they come back in the day before, everybody together. It's the first time. You've got to try and get back to that, I said, that intensity and the way we were playing and those performances. And it's not easy for any of us. When we played Bristol, had we lost, we could have gone, I think it was 4th or 5th bottom. The difference is palpable. You know, you can feel it around the place in terms of how much it meant, the confidence that people have. And that comes from playing well and winning games. And it has given us a chance to be nipping at the ones in front of us, as opposed to be worried about people chasing us. And there is a bit of that. If you're in the top 6, all you worry about is falling out of it, of course. If you're out of the top 6, all you got to do, if that's where you're chasing, or if strangely enough, even if you're in the bottom 3, you're chasing to get out. If you're in 4th bottom or 5th bottom, you desperately don't want to drop in at this stage. And I know if you're in the top 6, the last thing they want to do is to drop out now. And that's by any of us chasing them, because it's really hard then to get the momentum back. Middlesbrough, who else is? Bournemouth. You know, Barnsley have been on the best run. They've been fantastic. I think anybody that was in striking distance, they'll just be not really worried about individuals. I'm telling you, it's just that thought. If you've been in that top 6 for most of the season, the thought of dropping out with 6 games to play, it's a worrying feeling, and that worry can affect your performances. We've had time away from the club and from training. The players needed it, having had, 13 games in 6 weeks, was it? And it is a bit of downtime, but then we've had, how many did we have away? Something like 10 bodies away. So even when we came back in and training, we didn't have the full complement. So it's been a bit broken, but the lads who needed to train have trained. The ones who've been away, some of them have had games. Johnny Williams had a game, which was great. Brownie had a game. Junior's had some time. So, you know, they've been away and got game time, which has been good for some of them as well.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. Good to see you, Cardiff City TV, with myself, Ashley James and John Donovan. You've just been listening to the gaffer there speaking. I thought a really pertinent point, John, was where he spoke about the slight worry that intensity of the grind that they found themselves in the 5 or 6 games leading up to the international break, that might have just dropped off a little bit now that everyone's taken that deep intake of breath and got some time on the training pitch.
Well, that's what I'm really interested about, Ash, in today's game, if you bring Forest in as well. Who starts the quicker in the first 10, 15 minutes? Because, you know, I was looking at the press releases from Nottingham Forest yesterday. You know, Chris Hughton did his pre-match press conference. Alex Mitchum, a talented youngster, was the player they put up. And yeah, there was reference to this season, and of course they're not quite safe yet. But there was a lot of talk about next season, and I just wonder whether Forest are in that mode, that state of flux, that little bit of limbo where I think it's only, 7 points, but 5 points, 7 points, but they probably will be safe. Are they going to take their eye off the ball? Likewise, as you said, Mick McCarthy is worried that intensity level might not be there with players out of the building, but you've put yourself in a position now, you have a chance. I'd like to think these Cardiff City players coming back in will know that, what did we speak about, Ash, before the international break? 7 of these games maybe, or of course they're going to be tough games, but they're winnable games. They're games Cardiff should go in as the favourites. These players will hopefully have the bit between their teeth. So I'm really interested in the first sort of 10, 15 minutes to see which team comes out with the higher intensity levels. Obviously I hope it's Cardiff City.
Just the one change for the Bluebirds then. In terms of the Forest team news though, it looks like 3. So Joe Worrell returns to the centre of defence to partner Scotsman Scott McKenna, and there's also a place at left back for Tyler Blackett in a change Forest back line this afternoon. Ryan Yates also comes into the midfield area. He's going to partner James Garner and Cafu in place of Benfica loanee Filip Kravinovic, which suggests a slight change of shape. Lewis Grabban starts in attack ahead of both Glenn Murray and Lyle Taylor. However, neither of those 3 have particularly been amongst the goals this season. So, I mean, this is de rigueur, isn't it? But it seems like a cautious approach from Chris Hughton. No number 10, and it looks like he's packing the middle of the park instead, and then has opted for the sheer pace in the wide areas of Mighton and Abiobi instead of the guile that offered by Freeman and Knockout.
Absolutely, and I've got to say, Ash, when I saw the team coming in, I'm very happy Filip Kravinovic isn't in there, because when I look at Forest, and you know, a Forest team that, let's not forget, beat Cardiff City in their last encounter in the FA Cup, but you and I have talked of the last 2 years about Lewis Grabban can become isolated up there for Nottingham Forest, and you know, if you can stop ball into feet or him getting in behind defenders, they haven't really had a different option. I thought Kravinovic, I watched him in that Brentford game, I thought he was clever, he's a good number 10, he was getting closer to the striker, providing support, so I thought he would play today. The fact he isn't, or not starting, it gives me some relief. It does look like, you know, as Marlon Pack said, teams are starting to respect Cardiff City in terms of their opposition analysis and setting up to try and nullify, try and negate Cardiff City, and looks like that's what Chris Hughton has done today. I think Alex Mitchum is the wild card factor there. I do think he's got raw pace. I do think he's a good player. You know, Sammy Amiobi, we all know he's got talent, but he blows hot and cold, and you never really get a consistent 90 minutes out of him. So it's more Mitchum I'm looking at as the man to watch. Grabban can score goals if the service is there, but I always feel Ashwood, Nottingham Forest, that they do leave Grabban isolated, and if you can stop that ball into him, well, then you can stop Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, and that's proven by the fact that he's really struggling for goals this season. Just three goals, which is his lowest tally for 5 years at this level, when you consider he's cracked 20 in each of the past 3 seasons, regardless of where he's been playing. It looks like Chris Hughton has concentrated on the other end of the pitch and solidifying this Forest outfit first and foremost because of their proximity to the drop zone. And Joe Worrell coming back into the team is a huge boost for them in that regard, isn't he?
It is. You know, he was 50-50 yesterday when Chris Hughton gave his press conference, but he's a very talented centre half, good on the ball. You know, like a young Michael Dawson who's back at Forest now, but not in the squad, and you see a lot doing media duties these days. But reminds me a bit of him, good on the ball, but also got a good physical presence as well. And I think he'll be a plus for Nottingham Forest today. I think Chris Hughton, look, I think it's going to be a long-term project now there for Chris Hughton. They've changed managers so often, but I get the impression, I saw a Q&A with their chairman this week talking about Chris Hughton. I think they feel they've got their man. It's a long-term project, so Chris Hughton is probably safe in the knowledge he will be there next year and the year after. So why not build from the back? Why not solidify? And that's seemingly what he's done. Of course, in the summer, he'll have to address the goal situation. But Chris Hughton is a man who I've got a lot of respect for. I know you do, Ash. There's been a couple of times where he's been linked with the Cardiff job. Maybe timing hasn't been quite right, but I think it's a good pickup for Nottingham Forest having Chris Hughton as the man in charge.
Let's turn the attention back on Cardiff for the last couple of minutes then. 8 games remaining. Do we need to break them down into maybe a 3-2-3 makeup? Because the 6 wins outside of that middle grouping of Reading and Brentford look very, very achievable if Cardiff are playing anywhere near to their best.
They are, yeah. It is a little bit cliche of taking each game as it comes in the run-in, and those incremental games, like I mentioned earlier. If we win at 3 o'clock and Reading kick off at 5:30 and we're only a point behind, does that add pressure? You know, that Reading game is, you've spoken about it, Ash, it's almost a standalone game in terms of a 6-point swing, that cliche 6-pointer. But yeah, break them down, but when you've got the opportunity to put pressure on like today, take advantage of that opportunity. And that's why I want Cardiff City to come out flying, albeit with the international break, albeit with Mick McCarthy a little wary of the intensity levels. But Mick McCarthy, well, he's a wily old fox, isn't he? So I'm sure he knows how he wants to lift this team. I'm sure he's got into them. I'm sure the message is clear. Start fast, get the first goal against the Nottingham Forest team, who, as I say again, might be a little bit in limbo. But yeah, with the run-in, they're winnable games for Cardiff City. Let's take each one as a separate entity, and let's get on the board today.
Thank you very much, John. The players are leaving the field behind us, which is my cue to get myself up onto the gantry for live commentary of this afternoon's game between Cardiff City and Nottingham Forest. Myself and Mark Denham up in a few minutes' time, the other side of this Marlon Pack interview.
The rest probably to come at a good time for us. As everyone's aware, the fixture list this season has been very demanding, and basically 2 games a week now for the majority of the season. So yeah, obviously touching on the Swansea game, an unbelievable win, a fantastic win. And I think even more so with the time off that we had after that, it gave us, time to enjoy that win, but at the same time, gave a lot of boys, the ones that especially weren't away on national duty, time to kind of rest and recover. It's been a good break in the timing of it all. Starting with Forest Friday, it's a side that I picked up of late. 2 games over Easter. You know what it's like in the Championship. 2 results can really, put you in either in a good position or we could be chasing the pack. So they're not defining as such, but, it would be great to come out this weekend with positive points. I won't lie and say you don't look at the results after the game, but I think because we've come from a position where, let's be honest, not many would have expected us to go on this run to be in with a shout with 8 games to go. I think that probably working in our favour, where I know we were in there briefly, I think after the Bournemouth game, but it's only been that time this season. So I think we can't get too carried away because we've got these games coming thick and fast. The focus are fully on them games, and obviously if we take care of those games, then hopefully we'll be in the rightful position coming into the season. But I think the Championship is brilliant every season, and this season just goes to prove what a great division we're in. But obviously we don't want to be in it for much longer.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Morrison's gone forward from the back, so towards Bambar.
down in front of goal, and Goodison has scored. It's 2-1.
Oh, what a finish from Aaron Goodison. Readjusts in the air, is able to swivel onto the ball and smash it home on the volley. Low and hard beyond the keeper.
Came involved again. Now Peter Whittaker. Oh, brilliant! It is some day, some start here for what's the state of the Cardiff City. This one, the only question remains, can they keep it clean sheet? Counted on defence, it will set the circle for Kavanagh to come forward. Forrest playing with 10 men. Kavanagh still going forward into the area. Can he get his shot in? He can. Yeah. Oh, what a goal from Graham Kavanagh! Wide to Harris, pass to Bennett. First time ball forward. Harris on the chase on his feet. Lehigh is going to take on Warren, and he goes to the byline. Gets the cross in. Cleared away. Comes out to Goodison. He tries the shot. What a goal from Aaron Goodison!
That's a wonderful strike. He has time to line it up and pick his opportunity, and his technique doesn't let him down. Good positive play from Joe Bennett and Kadeem Harris on the left flank. A lovely weighted ball. The left-hand channel from Forrest. Also had a long weighted ball that made up that road pretty quickly. Got there before Ben Osborne. Now Ward's in possession again, end-to-end stuff. Edge of the area on his left foot, takes the shot down beautifully so. 25-yard rising effort, and it's flown past Jordan Smith in the Forest goal. And Cardiff lead by 2-0.
What a strike that is from Danny Ward. Right into the top corner of the net. He's cut in on his left foot. We said it was a warning for Forest, but he committed plenty of men forward. And Danny Ward stayed there, managed to get on the ball, and he's managed to capitalise on that. He's cut in, fired it into the top corner of the net. It's a fantastic strike from the forward.
It's a sensational strike from Danny Ward.
To purchase a pass for live matchday coverage on Cardiff City TV, visit the official Cardiff City FC website. Once logged into your Bluebirds Club account, navigate to Club TV and select Buy Packages. Select the pass you wish to purchase and click Buy Now. Next, fill in your payment details and click Submit Payment. Once your purchase has been successful, you will see this message. You can also check your purchase by clicking the Manage Your Subscriptions button. You now have instant access to live matchday coverage. Visit Club TV and select Live.
Moore's free in the box, 1-0.
Live streams begin 1 hour before kickoff, and recommended desktop browsers are Mozilla Firefox and Google Chrome. You can also watch or listen on the go via the official Cardiff City app. For technical support, email Cardiff TV support at streamamg.com.
For more behind-the-scenes content, download the Cardiff City Google extension for your home browser.
Might sound like a pretty long time, but if you're an idea, a dream, a belief, then 80 years is just the beginning.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Wilson, a little bit of space for Harry Wilson, strikes a goal, oh, what a goal, Morrison, goal! Welcome to Matchday Live here at sun-soaked Cardiff City Stadium. 8 games left to go in this championship season in Cardiff City after an international break that was blessed with the joys of a Derby Day victory prior to it has come to an end, and now it's about league action. No breaks left for the Bluebirds now, and only a few points outside those playoff positions. My name's Mark Denham. Ashley James alongside me today in the gantry at the commentary box. If you look at your screens, you can see the sides today. One change for City. Curtis Nelson straight back in after his injury in place of Sean Morrison. Didn't quite make this one. Nelson will take in Morrison's position, we think, on the right of a 3, with Kieran Brown retaining his place on the left. Aidan Flint wearing the armband. Ash, good afternoon.
Afternoon, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has, and we're looking at the Forest line up there today, and I think, well, the first word that comes to mind is pace.
Yeah, he's got that option on either flank at the moment, Chris Hughton. You either go with the guile and technical ability of Knockout on Luke Freeman, but what they both lack is out-and-out pace, and he's gone with the latter. So Sammy Amiobi, obviously a former Bluebirds loanee, comes in, and Alex Mighton as well, the young American-born youngster on the left-hand side. That will be the primary source of support then for Lewis Grabban, who is goal-shy at the moment, and that's because it looks like he's foregone a natural number 10 in the form of Filip Kravinovic, or Knockout actually, who could play that position, and solidified things in the middle of the park. So it looks like Ryan Yates is in to play as a 3 with both Cafu and James Garner.
Bluebirds take to the field here in this early April fixture. In terms of Forest and Cardiff links, Paul Trollope returned to Cardiff City City for the short-time head coach. He's assistant to Chris Hughton in the dugout. No Harry Arter, though, of course, not in the 25.
No, he had that injury prior to January, and they've just got a bloated squad, quite frankly. It's been, they've been a really poorly run club for a number of years. They've thrown money at problems, and it hasn't helped. Sacked managers, gone through head coaches and management like it's going out of fashion. None of it's worked, and now they've taken. It looks like they've got the right appointment in. In Chris Hughton, he's really solidifying things up there. It's going to take time. It's not an overnight fix. But yeah, they've just got a really bloated squad. So you've got a player in Fawad Bashiru as well, who arrived in the summer to a little bit of fanfare, not even in the 25-man squad. Club captain Michael Dawson, not in the 25-man squad, can't play either. And as you said, former Cardiff loanee Harry Arter in that bunch as well. So you anticipate that all 3 of them, well, Dawson almost certainly, but you anticipate Arter will move on as well come the summer.
Bluebirds won 2-0 at the City Ground back in August. Kiefer Moore double that day. Of course, there was an FA Cup tie early January, which a very depleted Cardiff City side in terms of injuries, and a side in quite wretched form during the latter end of Neil House's tenure. Lost in a 1-0 third round defeat on the banks of the Trent that day. And, of course, Kiefer Moore leading the line for City, who scored those 2 goals in the league fixture earlier in the season. Lovely finesse finish for the Welsh national side against Mexico here last Saturday, and played his part as well in the terrific 1-0 win over the Czech Republic in midweek, but critically didn't play that many minutes, Ash.
Yes, yeah, absolutely crucial, isn't it? I've been talking to John on pretty much live, and I've never been more delighted to look at some Wales starting lineup and not see Cardiff players involved, because he amongst practically any other player playing international football in this last week needed it the less, I'd have thought. You saw how tired he looked in the second half against Swansea, completely understandably, and you saw with those 2 missed chances going back to the 0-0 draw with Stoke, he was running on fumes in the last 20 minutes of games the other side of the international break. Let's hope that he comes back into this a little bit recharged, because Cardiff really, really need him firing on all cylinders for these remaining 8 games.
Interestingly, Forest have won the toss and have elected to swap ends. I guess that, well, is that due to the sun? Well, I can't quite see what the